During an Eagles game, those guys are crazy.
20 minutes good enough. We only have 3 games here anyways.
The 2 in the Raptors, yeah.
You want to do Raptors?
Raptors versus who?
No, nobody.
No,
I'm
no,
just saying if you
you
guys
said
want to
like
talk
Raptors
about the
style.
Raptors.
We can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have problems with that.
Oh, we always have that.
Yeah,
Someone's
we
always
always-
going ham on the Raptors.
Raptors, issues, injuries. I'll just ask some general questions and you guys go along with it. I'll ask a question based on that.
No vocal stuff, right?
No. Anthony Bennett getting sent down. We got sent down today.
Did he?
You got sent down. They're going to call him
Yeah,
back up for the
call him
game.
back.
Better.
He's
Let him
not
play.
playing.
Let him play. I agree. Let him
Alright.
go down there.
19 minutes. All right. Welcome back to On the Block. We're going to get you guys set with the last 2 games on the Christmas schedule. San Antonio at Houston. San Antonio, a team. Every year we know they're incredible. Just the same this year, 23-5, second in the West. They're going to Houston, and Houston has a problem. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Howard started complaining.
Houston has
Charles
a problem.
Barkley is not impressed. Neither is anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Spurs are the overwhelming favorite here. But guys, let's speak on these teams in the matchup.
Yeah, and I'm going for Spurs 100%. They're playing amazing. They were at one point they were winning by average of 22. They were saying
Maybe until the Raptors beat them that time.
Yeah, that was I can't believe it. Well, either way, Houston. Yes, I watched them play, even though they won yesterday.
Clippers.
They beat the Clippers. It was worse than the score showed. But I just watched Houston. I like Brewer. He's a very green type of player. Very all over the place. But I'm watching Harden. I don't see. Usually, when you have 2 guys, they work well together. Even if they don't like each other on a personal level, you can tell. I don't see, especially
chemistry.
Yeah, especially Kobe and Shaq hated each other, but they went in and out to each other. I don't see Harden and Howard doing anything. Like I don't. And the game that Howard had, he'll give you that maybe twice a month where he
exactly.
really tries
20
to
and
dominate.
15 or something.
Yeah, he doesn't do that all the time. Harden, he's going to shoot the ball like crazy. I think he was 4 for 12, I believe,
From 3?
at one point in the game
Oh.
yesterday. He was at one point he was 4 for 12. I was watching. He just won't stop shooting. I'm not a fan of Houston whatsoever.
And the ISO ball that they do with Harden.
They it doesn't seem. Again, I'm a team guy. I said that many times. I just don't see anything about this team doing anything.
We said that last year. Yeah, they don't have a team. They don't have that team commitment. It's a lot of guys playing for themselves. And since McHale got fired, it seems
That's
like
even
things.
worse. That was a
You lose a
big
good coach,
Big
and things have not really gone well for them since. They've been pretty much the same thing.
There's a bunch of issues there. I mean, obviously the Dwight Howard stuff. He doesn't want to play second fiddle to James Harden, and I mean, what are you going to really do? I think he's got another. This is his last year. He might opt out, become a free agent, trying to get more of that money from the NBA deal. I don't know. I think if Houston could go back and not sign him, I think they would. I don't think he's working well with James. As for Harden, I think he might have got bit by that Kardashian curse. I think. I don't know. I think that's I don't know. It just seems to be going around that if you're an NBA player and you mess with that family, it's an
She's
issue.
going to be playing the Kanye shoes.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, in terms of that, in terms of the Spurs, I've liked what they've done because LaMarcus Aldridge has come in. It took him a little bit while to get used to the system, but he's doing well now, and I think he'll end up taking over that mantle from Tim Duncan once Tim is ready to retire. So they're always a well-coached team with Greg Popovich. I am going to take the Spurs. I think it's the first team I didn't take that out are playing at home in terms of the Christmas games. They just have too much, and considering the way that Houston's in flux and the way that the Spurs are playing, you just can't really see Houston pulling it out.
To be honest, with Houston, we said it before, we don't think that they're really a title contender. This year seems to be no different. They lost a lot of their bench too from last year. Terrence Jones is finally stepping in. He seems to be healthy. I like his game a lot. Monte Eunice, he's kind of one of those hit or miss bench guys. He's kind of too soft too, but that's how they play. They play 3 balls and some kind of defense, whatever kind of defense they call, which is
James
letting teams hit shots.
Yeah, James, if he's on, he's on. If he's off, the team is in a lot of trouble.
And that's the thing. James Harden will shoot you into a lot of games, and he'll keep you in some games. And when he's off, it's really tough for the team because, like you were saying earlier, about getting other guys involved. And when Irving comes back, Harden isn't really. He'll get you assists, but he's the kind of guy that will get you assists when he's double teamed or he's out of options, and he'll dump it down to someone. They lack a point guard.
See, we've had discussions about this before on how great OKC would be if Harden had stayed had they not traded him. But if you look at the way that he is in terms of how he likes to shoot the amount that he does, he would be a problem with Kevin Durant and Westbrook because he would take too many of their shots. And when he's hitting them, great. But when he's not, those guys would get massively frustrated with him.
See, but the thing was, I feel in OKC he was a better playmaker than he was. He reminds me of Tracy McGrady. Like Tracy McGrady was in handcuffs for so long. When he went to Orlando, he went crazy and started scoring 35 a game. So, and even McGrady was known as a defensive stopper. He was a very good defender, and the more he kept scoring, the worse his defense got. And they were saying it used to be a lockdown defender like a Pippen, and he put so much effort into scoring, and he even said it himself. His defense suffered, and I think Harden now, when he was getting all these MVP talks, it's because he had a mix of blowing out in the scoring, but still was a playmaker like OKC. But then I think his downfall, in my opinion, is when he got into this rivalry with Curry, and he even said that he felt he should have been MVP. It's like he just wants to he sees Curry going off, and it's like he just wants to shoot. I don't see anything about his game other than I want to score. Everything he's doing is shooting 3-3-3. I don't know if he's trying to keep up with Curry, but his playmaking has gotten even worse, even though it's dropped since OKC, but I can still see it there. Now it's like all he wants to do is score. I don't see anything about his game. I don't want to defend. I don't want to rebound. I don't want to try to get a triple-double. I just want to score 50.
Well, we've seen him not commit to defense a lot of times, getting out of the way.
That Tracy McGrady comparison is actually kind of pretty bang on.
It is.
Because like the same thing in Toronto when McGrady was here and he was a complimentary part and then he became a star afterwards. That didn't really get McGrady anywhere.
Yeah.
It really didn't get McGrady anywhere.
And like looking into the future, if we look into our crystal ball, I don't think any of us see James Harden lifting that title.
Not in the current situation. I mean, if Houston builds around them with different pieces, I mean, not the way they currently are. No way.
They got leaps to go if you're going against teams like San Antonio, Golden State, who's not going anywhere, and Cleveland, who's not going anywhere.
I don't know. Yeah, they're like a 6 to 8 seed in the West.
And last year,
best, probably.
somehow ended up beating the Clippers in the West Final. You know what I mean? And made it, in the West Semifinal, making it to the West Final.
But they were going off a hype of the Howard and everything, and McHale was a good coach. I don't know what they're gonna do after getting rid of McHale. The coach is very important. You can have talent, but you can have a coach. You're as good as your worst player. So a coach can make a player that's not that good feel like he's good. The Spurs, I feel anybody that goes to that team, that guy who came from the D League, I can't remember his name, from the Spurs, he's very athletic with the beard.
Yeah.
He is playing amazing because he
defends, he's athletic.
Everything. So, but I can tell that Pop says once you're on this team, you're on the team. You don't have to act like some scared,
short leash.
Yeah, exactly. You're part of this team. You made the Spurs for the NBA, and you're gonna play like a Spur player. And I don't know what this new coach is about in Houston, but I know that McHale's a real players coach. Everybody said it, and it looked like all his players wanted to play for him. I don't know what happened. Maybe I don't know.
Just a slump, it seemed like, and also with Ty Lawson, who we haven't talked about, who's been a terrible acquisition.
Well, I mean, he's got his substance abuse issues, and that kind of stuff goes onto the court, and you can tell he's just not in the right mindset to be out there. Really.
All right, we're gonna move on. Before I gotta go on record, I'm saying the Spurs are gonna take
I was gonna
this
say,
one.
we didn't get that pick. 5-5 from last year.
5-5, trying to relive this. Moving on to our last game, my beloved LA Clippers taking on the Lakers. Kobe Bryant's doing his last season tour, and it's Derek Jeter-esque so far with the gifts and
that's the only thing that's Derek Jeter-esque.
The gifts and the not really playing at a high level, also, right?
I mean,
a lot less than Jeter was.
Well, yeah, Jeter went out pretty decent. Kobe's going out a little bit more mediocre than Jeter went out, in my opinion, at least.
Lowest field goal percentage of the league. May we add of qualified people? Yes.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that might be gone up in the last couple games are pretty good, but I don't know. He's probably still on the brink of that number. Yeah.
Shooting below 40%.
Yeah, he's shooting pretty badly, and the air balls. I mean, we were talking about during the break. Some of those shots are ridiculous.
The air balls were some of them barely contested, and he's airballing.
Well, because they want him to shoot. He's only shooting 40. I mean, that's pretty much gonna hit 1 out of 3.
And there was a quote actually after the Toronto Raptors game. One of the Toronto reporters asked him, and they said, why are you still taking such a high volume shots? And what he said, which actually was a good response, if they're giving me a shot, it's my job to take it. So if he's open and the play develops to get him an open shot, and that's his shot, he's got to take it.
What?
He's not always forcing. Sometimes he is. But at least in that game, I know that they're giving him shots because he's not shooting well.
You want to know how the Lakers are going to be in this game?
Down 50?
No. No, I know how they're going to be in and actually be there at the end. Just hack DeAndre Jordan as much as you can.
Not a bad plan.
I would do that. I mean, the man I saw, what was that, a couple weeks ago, 4 for 24 at the free throw line. If he got hit free throws, put him on the line.
Yeah.
You're bound to get if you're down 10 or something, start hacking him in the fourth quarter when he's there. You get right back in the game.
The Lakers have enough bodies to get 6 fouls, that's for
Sure.
sure.
I don't
Start-
think that
start
they
hacking.
can save them. Yeah,
Well, it might not, but it might make it a little closer.
They just lost to Houston badly, and Clippers again. I don't like the way they've been playing at all. And
They picked it up recently.
Yeah.
They've been bad to start.
But the talent they have, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a problem here. It shouldn't be no up and downs at this point. They have a good coach. I don't.
But we
see-
talked about that. Is Doc Rivers a great coach? He won a title with one of the best teams in the last 15 years. We can agree on that, right? That Celtics team was incredible.
But I
Yeah, it
mentioned
was
him
pretty
before
stacked.
when he was in
Orlando,
Orlando.
yeah, with Orlando,
Terry
he was a good
Armstrong, they
coach.
had no talent, and they were one game up. They had zero talent, and they lost the last game of the season not to make the playoffs. So since then, I've always been a fan of him. And obviously, you have talents with Boston and them. Yeah, but he's not. Even if you don't want to put him in the great category, he's no
He's
way
above
a bad
average.
coach. Yeah,
He's above average.
So if you have an above average coach with this kind of talent, I'm not blaming. I'm gonna have to go from head to toe. They're underachieving big time,
Definitely.
the Clippers. But even with that being said, in the hack at Jordan, I don't see them after the way they've been playing, losing to the Lakers. But as you guys were just talking about Kobe, I'm gonna see. Well, I've been watching him, and this is he doesn't want to get hurt. That's for sure. This is his goodbye season, and I'm watching him drive. And even when he goes in for layups, he's very scared. And when you want to, his game was in and out. Even Jordan, when he got older, he could still penetrate.
Keep the defense honest.
Yeah, exactly. He's fully relying on the shot alone. I barely see lift, not injury, no lift, but not the lift that we're obviously used to. And that's why all his shots are short. He's doing these fadeaways. Normally, a scorer. I don't really consider Kobe. He's a very great shooter, but I consider him a scorer.
Yeah.
And a scorer, they get hot by putting the ball in the hoop. Now, if your outside shot isn't going, you normally drive, maybe get to the free throw line, and then you get to feel that swish, and then you start scoring. Kobe, he's just on the outside so much, he doesn't even get the chance to go heat, so he thinks he can still do these fadeaways in the corners. And
When he's hot, but he's not
yeah,
hot
he's
to
not
do
hot
it.
yet to do it, but he's still doing it because that's in his repertoire. So I see the skill still there. He's still mobile. The older guys like him, Garnett, Pierce, Duncan, like even Duncan, very old, but he still plays very well to me.
Plays to his strengths.
I think he could be
He was never the most fleet-of-foot guy in the
exactly. But I can picture him in the playoffs. I wouldn't defer to Aldridge if I was the coach. Like
No.
Duncan is still
Go-to guy.
Yeah, he's still a go-to guy to me. Duncan knows. I'll give him the ball if he wants to defer to Aldridge, then so be it. But to me, Duncan is still playing very
High
well.
level,
So.
Now you mentioned Doc Rivers, but I mean, Byron Scott's been doing a terrible job with this team, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at it, if you got D'Angelo Russell, you got Randall, and you're benching them for the majority of the fourth quarter, you're a 4-23 team.
You want to watch your players grow, right? And then
You
if
gotta
there's
get
ever a
those
time
guys
to
in
do it,
there.
this is the time to do it.
It's what's the point of having those guys on the bench? Like they need time, they need to mature on there. It's for your 4-23 at this point.
What do you have to lose?
You're not going to be a playoff team. There's no,
You want a
there's
high
no
pick
chance.
anyways.
You're gonna get a high pick anyways. Play the guys and don't just defer to Kobe because Kobe is who he is. At the end of the day, you got to get these guys in the game and give them more shots and more minutes to have them be better players because they're the future. Russell, what was he, top 3, top 4 for the Lakers pick, and then along with Randall last year.
Randall's having a great season.
Yeah, those guys have to play games. You can't bench those guys for the majority of the
For
fourth
Lou
quarter.
Williams, Kobe Bryant, and those
Well,
kind of guys. You can't
Lou,
do
I
that.
mean, Lou was great last year with the Raptors. This year with the
Yeah.
Lakers,
No.
mediocre. But again, I think Byron went off on the team. I think they lost by 40. I think last night went off, saying it was an embarrassing situation.
The whole season's been
The
embarrassing.
whole
for them.
season's
It's not-
been embarrassing. For your 4-23, I don't know what you're really expecting. I guess he said that they were scared of OKC of Durant and Westbrook. Well, I mean OKC's at a much higher level than what his current Lakers squad is. I don't think Byron's got that good a coach, to be honest.
There was no will. It seemed like there was no motivation. It seems like Byron Scott's kind of lost the team in the change room.
So my lock for Christmas is the Clippers beating the Lakers in LA.
Since this is such an obvious one, we got the Clippers going. Let's put a number on it. How much you think they'll win by?
Well, I told you, if they do the hack of Jordan thing, which you know what? In the playoffs, you're going to see a lot of that happen.
In the playoffs, for sure.
Playoffs, you're going to see a lot of that happen. And here's the thing, and about this whole DeAndre Jordan thing, you're making so much money. I don't care if you have to shoot free throws underhand or have someone teach you a proper thing. that is going to cost them games.
It
In,
will.
in the play, it will. And like I think we're talking about Bob Cousy used to shoot him like that.
At
It's
90%,
embarrassing.
yeah.
It's embarrassing. I get it because you're on national television and maybe you'll get ripped by the other NBA guys. But you know what?
Numbers
I'd rather
speak.
win games and rather than going like 4 for 20. I didn't even know what kind of percentage. What was that? 20% from the free? What was that?
Probably.
It was. You can't be missing 20 free throws because that's a ton of possessions.
And we talked about it on previous shows. You got to think about last week in the playoffs against Houston. You're getting embarrassed on national TV. People are fouling you 100 feet from the hoop. You're going up there with terrible form. Hasn't changed since he's come in the league. And he's airballing shots. He's front
There's got to be
rimming.
coaches for that. There's got to be someone you can pay to have that.
First we
guy
thought it was
take under
mental.
his wing.
When we thought it was mental, maybe it still is, but the form there looks terrible too, and it looks like he's not even really putting in the effort. You think he's working on it, you hope so, but you haven't seen any results in what? Since he's been in the league, he gets worse every year.
I see bad free throw shooters in the past, and I don't feel like if you look at Shaq and those guys like Howard and Jordan, their form isn't too bad to me. Like the elbows in, the way they're doing things are right, but maybe they're not
It's
practicing.
very
They're not-
robotic too. There's no fluidity in their shot.
Even if he was 50%, which again he's
that's acceptable.
That's something acceptable. When you have games where you're hitting 4 out of 24, that's not acceptable, and that's
It puts you in a hole. It's
Yeah,
pretty much
like,
a turnover every time.
the bigger guys. I get it. Well, some guys have bad form, and then like the smaller guys, it really hasn't been that. Like I think Rondo's a pretty terrible free
Yeah.
throw shooter. You see that pump fake that he did a couple days ago? That was pretty.
That was nice.
I don't think I've ever seen that. But he's got to have some kind of situation where someone has to work well. If he has to do it underhand, something where it looks where he can at least get to 50% on a game to game basis. Like some games he's better. I'm not gonna say that 4 for 24 wasn't like it doesn't happen every game. But in the playoffs, if I'm the coach, I'm hacking him if I'm down 6 or 7 points with 5 minutes left because he's gonna miss at least one of those, if not both. You'll get right back in the game.
So what Igor is telling us right now is to get your eggnog ready for the Christmas Day game at the end of the night. Make sure you have your beverages because you're going to need it to get through this last game.
Yeah.
Maybe Kobe fouls out hacking Jordan. Who knows?
Maybe Kobe drops 50 and the Lakers surprise everybody.
Well, I mean, I think for
and then retires after that game.
That might be a Christmas Day miracle for the
Yeah,
Lakers.
you're right. But something that you said with the Lakers, Scott may not be. It's hard to tell when a team, like we were talking earlier about Philly. It's hard to tell when your team
It's so bad.
is so
Yeah,
bad
if you're-
how much is the coach's fault. Now, if you have no talent in the coach and you're winning, then the coach gets all the praise, right?
Mhm.
So, but I'm watching. First of all, I think a huge mistake that was made, but obviously it's not really his fault. Is this goodbye thing to Kobe? Now everyone's waving and shaking hands, and Kobe, they're losing. Like to me, I'm watching as a player. I just lost a game by 20. We've lost maybe 8 games in a row, and we're smiling and shaking hands and
Yeah.
clapping. I'm not into that. If we lost the game, we should be angry and be going to the back. But I understand we're saying goodbye to this guy. So now, are we putting? To me, it almost seems
The
like the
individual
season is
before
on
the team.
hold to say goodbye to Kobe. And if that's the case, none of your young players are going to get better. No one is going to progress when the whole season is based off of saying bye to Kobe. So when they said bye to Michael Jordan when he was on the Wizards, even then they were still progressing. Everything he was saying was to make Hamilton, and I can't remember who the off guard was. They had Stackhouse, and he was still trying to make sure they were better. They were 1 game off from making the playoffs. They lost to Dallas, and he scored 38 points in that game. And he was 40
playing
years
at a high
old.
level.
See,
Yeah.
the difference was that Jordan was playing at a reasonably high level
Yeah.
still, while Kobe's been dreadful.
Yeah,
That's the difference, right? Like if it was the goodbye thing is fine, and there's no issues. If he's playing at a decent level,
Yeah.
Jordan was playing at a decent level. He's pretty much put the Lakers back another year with some of the stuff he's doing because Russell's not getting the minutes, and then Reynolds had a decent year, but to me the difference between Philly and the Lakers is at least they're putting the
Philly's
young guys
competing.
out there.
Yeah.
Where if they're getting killed every game, at least the young guys they got
Noel.
Saugus and Noel and all the other guys they have. At least they're putting them out there to get some minutes.
Mhm.
This guy's losing and putting the young guys on the bench for fourth quarters because he's trying to give them a message that maybe they're not playing well or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You're 4-23. The majority of the team ain't playing well, including your superstar talent.
But a problem with that also, because what a lot of veterans in the NBA and the Hall of Famers they've been saying about Philly, what they're angry about is that there's no veteran leadership on Philly.
Yes.
Now, Lakers do have veteran leadership, but the problem is the coach has to be that veteran also. So if these young guys are in LA, right, in the NBA,
Partying with the Kardashians
and doing all
and all
this
that
joking
bull.
around stuff and not serious, to me, I'm sitting you too, because we're not, even though we're doing this goodbye Kobe thing, we have to come here. So are we coming to practice hard? Are you playing? yes, you're our number 2 pick, I believe,
Yeah.
3 pick at
Yeah,
Russell.
yeah,
You're not
yeah.
coming here and just being handed the spot. Now I see glimpses of Russell doing okay, but behind this whole goodbye Kobe thing, it's hard to see what he can really do. But if he's not putting in the time in practice and and he's doing things outside the gym, like what the guy, Okafor
Yep.
from
Yeah, guns
Philly
and all that,
doing
yeah.
all that nonsense, then to me you have to teach them a lesson right away. So we don't know what's happening behind the locker room, why he's not.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason why he's
Yeah.
not getting the minutes, I guess.
And